Hey, Lindsay, guess what?
What's up?
I got my first big paycheck.
Oh, yeah?
You remember how I finally got my first real job last month, right? Well, I finally got paid, and it feels so good.
Congrats, that's really great.
That's it?
What do you mean?
You're not gonna ask me how much I got.
All right, how much did you get?
Let's just say I got way more than you get at your job. You know where I'm working, right?
Yeah, I know your company's pretty famous. You really talked my ear off about it once you got hired.
Oh, I don't quite remember doing that. Luckily for me, though, I got this amazing job because of how smart I am. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for you.
Yeah, you're a real genius.
You've got to be super jealous.
Oh yeah, totally. I wish I could be super smart like my big sister.
That's what I thought. I mean, I'd be jealous if I were you too. You dropped out of high school and started working. But you're really just scraping by, right? I know your job barely pays you anything.
Yeah, well, I'm not living some super luxurious life or anything, but I'm saving up a lot and I'm living a nice, simple life.
Oh, I find that hard to believe. You're not sending any money back to Mom and Dad, right?
That's because Dad told me I didn't have to.
Of course he's gonna say that. Since I got so much money with this paycheck, I'm going to be a good daughter and send a bunch of money to Mom and Dad.
Oh, well, maybe it's a good idea after all. Do you think I should?
Oh, could you even send them $1? There's no way you can afford to send them anything on the salary you're making.
It was kind of tough at first living on that money and being on my own, but I had a lot of freedom to do what I want. And now I make even more than I did when I started.
So what? How could you be happy as a poor high school dropout?
Considering everything, I'm actually pretty happy. Obviously, I can't work at a big, famous company like you, but I'm doing everything I can to make a living for myself.
That sounds kind of pathetic if you ask me.
I don't think it's pathetic at all.
Oh, I guess I'm being a bit harsh on my little baby sis. I'll take it easier on you from now on.
Thanks, I guess.
Even though you're a dropout, you're really trying hard not to ask for any handouts from Mom and Dad, right? That's so nice of you.
Yeah, I promised myself I'd never ask them for money.
What a mature adult you've become.
It doesn't really feel that way. Well, anyway, I'm a little busy at the moment. Good luck with your job.
Hang on there. I forgot to mention. I'm in charge of a really big project at work right now.
That's great.
I heard from one of my coworkers that there's this really incredible freelancer, right? Apparently she's always super busy because of how good she is at her job. We want to try and contract her to do some work for us. And they put me in charge of making a deal to get her to do some work for our company.
They really did that even though you just started working there?
Of course I won't be totally alone. My coworker is going to be there, but just to watch over me. But I bet the reason they gave it to me is because they really expect big things out of an outstanding worker like me. I bet everyone at the company is super jealous of me already.
It sounds like you have your work cut out for you. Don't let them down.
I don't need you to tell me that. You know me. I've always been the genius of the family.
Sure. You always really studied hard in school. You were even top of your class every year, weren't you? I always looked up to you for that.
Of course you did. My plan is to get my foot in the door with that big-time freelancer. I know she'll really take a liking to me as soon as I get the chance to talk with her. If I do that, then I'll get a promotion for sure. I don't just want to be a normal company grunt that never moves up in the ranks. I've got to climb to the top.
While I'm glad to hear you've set some pretty high goals for yourself, I just hope you don't set your expectations too high.
What are you talking about? You think a brilliant person like me could ever fail?
No, that's not what I mean. I just mean you have to be careful to remember that you're working at a company, not just on your own. You have to treat people right.
I don't remember ever asking a dropout like you for advice. I'm the one who should be giving you all the advice.
All right, well, I won't say anything else then.
Of course you won't. Just sit there and nod your head like a good little girl when I talk to you.
Ha ha ha, okay, got it. Well, anyway, like I said, I'm kind of busy right now. I guess I'll talk to you later.
Why didn't you say anything?
What do you mean?
Why didn't you say that you're the freelancer my company wanted to get a contract with?
Oh, yeah. When you were telling me about that project you were assigned to, I thought maybe it could have been me you were talking about. I didn't know for sure until we actually saw each other in person.
How could you, of all people, be so successful as a freelancer? I have no idea how this could have happened.
I think I mentioned it to you once before.
Well, I don't remember that.
Well, I did. You probably don't remember because you don't care about anything in my life.
Don't you have any idea how big and famous my company is? We only want to work with the best of the best. They won't just take some bum off the street. Why would they have any interest in you?
Well, thanks for the compliment, I guess. Do you remember our conversation when we had the meeting?
No, not really.
Well, do you at least remember how you acted? Or did you already forget?
I acted normally. What are you talking about? Nothing out of the ordinary for two sisters talking with each other.
We met each other for business, not for fun.
Yeah, well, who cares? I don't work for you. What makes you think you can act so high and mighty all of a sudden? The coworker I was with was furious after the meeting.
Was your coworker mad at me?
Of course he was.
I don't quite think so.
Oh yeah? Why's that?
Well, for starters, you weren't being professional at all. You talked to me like we were at home or something. Not only that, you just assumed that the contract was a done deal.
Well, of course it is. If I'm negotiating with my sister, it's obviously not going to fall through. There's no way you could ever say no to me.
I don't think you understand how busy I am. I really have a lot on my plate right now. So much that I'm constantly turning down work from other companies.
So what?
That means that just because I have an offer from your company doesn't mean I have to take it.
Are you stupid? Are you going to turn down my company's gracious offer for work?
I'm still on the fence about it.
How could you be so dumb to turn down a huge contract from a company like mine? What an obnoxious thing to hear coming out of a high school dropout like you.
I don't think me being a dropout is relevant anymore. We're both working adults now.
It's absolutely relevant. Above anything else, we're sisters.
That's especially irrelevant right now. Also, thinking back on what you said, the reason why we met the other day was so I could hear more about the offer from your company. That kind of presentation you gave was supposed to persuade me to accept the work from your company. But from the way you talked to me, there's no way I would take the offer if it were a normal situation. I walked away not really knowing what the work was going to be like.
All right, so then why not just ask me now?
What?
Why did I need to explain everything to you then? You could have just asked me any time if you wanted to know something. If you didn't understand something, just ask me right now. I'll be nice enough to answer any of your questions.
That's not the point. What I'm saying is that would have been totally unacceptable if we weren't sisters. Your coworker wasn't mad at me. I really think he was mad at you for how badly you treated me.
Absolutely not. You were totally unfriendly and cold towards us. That's why he was mad. I bet he couldn't believe how rude you were to your own family.
Is that what he said?
No, he didn't have to. I'll be meeting with him later today. He'll probably tell me then. But don't worry. I'll make sure to put in the good word with him for you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Right now, he probably doesn't think very highly of you after we met. So like I said, I'll make sure I say you're not always that rude. That way we won't have to retract our generous offer to you. Just leave it to your big sis to clean up the mess you made. You should feel lucky to have such a kind sister like me.
You've really never changed, have you, Katie? For someone as smart as you, I'm sure you really believe you're a genius.
What's that supposed to mean? Is that a compliment or an insult?
I'll just leave it at that. Let me know how it goes after you talk with your coworker. I'm sure he's got a lot to say to you.
Yeah, I bet he does. Make sure you let me know once you've accepted our offer. And when you do, make sure you say how it was all thanks to me. You'd really be helping me climb up the ladder at my company. If we're going to be working together, we have to help each other out, right? What's his problem? I have no idea why he was so pissed at me. How ridiculous is this?
I'm guessing you talked with your coworker?
He said my demeanor isn't professional at all. He said I was being disrespectful towards you. Oh, he must be crazy or something.
Katie, I really want you to think clearly about what he's saying. You can't think of me as your sister. You have to treat me like you would any other client. What would happen if you treated any other client the way you treated me?
What are you talking about? Like I already said, above everything else, we're sisters.
Yeah, but even as sisters, the way you acted was unacceptable. I totally understand why your coworker is mad at you. Even after he said all that to you, you still think you're right?
Well, maybe I shouldn't have been so casual in the way I talked to you, but more important, did you really turn down our offer?
Yeah, I did.
Why? Are you trying to embarrass me?
I don't have to say yes to any work that I don't want, even if we are sisters. To be honest, I still have no idea what the job was going to be like.
I told you to ask me if you didn't know.
That isn't the point. The point was that you were supposed to explain everything when we had the meeting. That's the whole reason why I was there.
All right, but just please hang on. Please come back again and I'll explain everything to you. That would fix this, right?
I really wish I could. I would love to come back and hear what you have to say. But honestly, I have so much on my plate right now. I really don't have the time to come back. Sorry.
Don't think that you could just say sorry. This is really gonna kill me. You should have heard the way my coworker was screaming at me.
He was really that mad?
Yeah, because I told him that since we were sisters, there's no way he would turn us down. I said, leave it to me, I'll take care of everything.
You probably shouldn't have said that. Just because we're related doesn't mean I'll say yes to you. Why would you think that?
Oh, everyone is really mad at me right now. How could this happen to a perfect genius like me? I was valedictorian at college, for crying out loud. Oh, I can't take the feeling of other people being mad at me.
Well, genius or not, at the very least, you need to have some common sense.
What are you talking about? I'm the master of common sense.
I'm not so sure about that. For someone that was put in charge of a project this big, I think it's pretty obvious you should never have treated me the way you did, even if I am your sister. Did you even notice your coworker's reaction when you were talking to me? He was white as a ghost. If you really did have any common sense, you would have realized his reaction and changed your attitude.
I did notice, but that's not why he reacted like that. He was like that because he was shocked at how disrespectful you were being.
You've got to be crazy if you think that's what happened. You should have been paying more attention. Anyone else would have noticed immediately what was really happening.
I really thought that's what was happening. Oh, what's the point of telling me this now?
Now that I think about it, I kind of warned you about the way you were acting. I said, if we're going to do business together, I think it'd be better to treat me like you'd treat any other client, even if we are related. But you just laughed it off, didn't you?
All right. I apologize for the way I treated you. But please, just accept our offer.
I already told you, no. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to keep talking about this with you. I won't bring any of this up again.
I can't believe you. I never thought you could be so cruel to your own sister. Wait a second. Are you doing this because you saw how much I make?
What are you talking about?
Oh, that's why, isn't it? You wanted to bring me down because I make so much more than you.
All right, well, if that's what you think, I have some news for you. I actually make 10 times as much as you.
There's no way in hell you make that much. How could a high school dropout like you be so arrogant?
Go ahead, you can look at my pay stubs. I really think it would be a good lesson for you. You can see how much money a freelancer is capable of making. I'd be happy to teach you all about it.
Who do you think you are? What could an idiot like you possibly teach someone like me? You didn't even make it through high school. You're out of your mind if you think you're better than me.
Is that right? I sure hope your ego doesn't get the best of you like it is right now once you get back to work.
Who are you to talk to me that way? You probably barely make $2,000 a month. You must be stupid if you think you make 10 times what I do.
You're way off. You're missing 2 zeros.
Bullshit. Do you think I'm an idiot? You really think I believe you make $200,000 a month? Are you so stupid that you can't do basic math?
I'm not lying. The most I've made in a month was $200,000. You'll never see that much money in your whole life.
You're being serious.
Yup. That's why I can take or turn down any job I want. Of course, in the past, I started off only making a couple $100 a month. And as you know, I'm not the genius you are. So I really had to pull myself up by my bootstraps and work my butt off. I'm actually really thankful because in a way, you were my motivation to work this hard.
All right, well, if you really mean that, well, why don't you just take the job?
No, I already told you that's not happening. To be honest, it's not that I don't want to work with your company. I really just don't want to work with you.
Are you serious?
Even though I flat out refused the offer from my sister's company, she tried to use her power as my sister to force negotiations to make me accept. I had no choice but to get my parents involved. Of course, they absolutely ripped her apart for the way she was acting. After that, things didn't go so well for her at her company. A year later, she handed in her resignation and changed jobs. She eventually got a job as a telemarketer. I don't think she'll be bothering me again, especially since I've completely cut off all communication with her. I bet despite everything that happened, she still thinks of herself as a genius. But if you ask me, how smart are you if you get totally owned by a high school dropout like me?
My love, I know you won't like this. Mom's here.
What did she come for this time?
I'm not sure. Does she ever have a good reason for coming around?
I'm so sick of her barging into our home whenever she likes.
Breathe, my love. I'll take care of this, okay?
That would be so awesome. But are you sure you will be able to make her leave?
I'll make sure she leaves today. Of course, I'm always the one making her leave each time she comes around.
Each one of those times I was standing right behind you and giving you moral support.
What's that supposed to mean?
Exactly what you think it does, which is that you have a soft spot for your mom.
But it doesn't mean that I let her do anything she wants.
I know, and that's one of the reasons I adore you, my darling. You stand up to her to protect our marriage and our home. But your resolve weakens whenever she gets sad and looks like she's on the brink of one of her fake tears.
How am I supposed to know it's a fake tear? It looks pretty real to me.
And that's a weapon she knows she can use to get her way. But whenever I'm around, that doesn't work.
Oh, I think I understand now. You're a woman, so you can't fall for another woman's antics.
It's not really about that. She's not my mom. She's yours. You have an emotional attachment to her that I don't have. So I can act more logically than you can when it comes to her.
You're right, I'm her only son, and ever since Dad passed away a decade ago, she became so reliant on me.
Reliant is a kind word. Try obsessed. She'll practically make you her new husband if she could. The only difference is that you'll sleep in separate rooms.
I wish I could argue that what you just said isn't true, but I know you're correct. Her attachment to me made me so uncomfortable that I chose to attend college in a faraway state so I could get away from her. Yet, I always felt guilty about running away from her like that, so I came home every summer holiday to spend time with her. I think the major mistake I made was settling down in a place that's an hour's train ride away from her. We should have settled down in a place much farther away from here. I'm pretty sure she would have hardly come over. And whenever she wants to, she would have to tell us first, or we would invite her.
Hey, it's not your fault. You did your best to establish boundaries since your college days. But she's ignoring all of them.
Exactly. She's my mom. I love her, but she's frustrating me. I got a good job in the city. Was I supposed to turn it down because of her?
Absolutely not. Honestly, her visits wouldn't have bothered me if she wasn't so... I'm struggling to find a word that isn't rude or offensive. If she were nice and easygoing, we wouldn't have a problem with her coming whenever she wants to. But then, 9 out of 10 times, she comes around unannounced and uninvited, and proceeds to nitpick on how we run our own home.
She's always been like that with me. She wants me to do things the way she likes.
You're a grown man, not a child. You shouldn't have to bend to her wishes. Neither of us have to. She even claims that I don't take care of you, as if I were living with a 2-year-old. Whichever way I look at it, it's clear that she wants you to herself.
I love when you say that.
Never, honey. You belong with me.
I hope you've been settling into Texas well.
It's been nice. I'm adjusting and I've started work. I don't want to stay out of town longer than I have to.
Don't worry about that. Just focus and do a good job. I'll get Mom to leave the house long before you return.
I trust you. Kisses. I miss you so much, honey. I think I'm going to cry.
Why would you cry? Is something going on?
It's so hot here and I just feel so homesick. You're my home, you know?
I'm close to blushing. I really am.
Now, that's a sight I'd love to see.
Did you hear about the kidnapping at the park?
There was a kidnapping at the park? That's awful. What happened?
They woke up.
Hold on a second. Was that a joke?
Yes, there's another one. Why did the bicycle fall over?
I know this one. Because it was too tired.
You don't want to cry anymore, right?
No, I don't want to. Thanks for cheering me up.
That's what I'm here for. Focus on finishing your work well. My arms miss holding you.
Aw, sure. Everything is okay with you, right?
Oh yes, everything is control.
That was too bright. Is there something going on that you're not telling me?
Well, it's not a big deal.
Tell me.
Mom hasn't left yet. She's still around and has been making herself at home in her son's home, which she considers hers too by extension.
Uh-oh. What did you do? How could you let her stay in my absence?
I'm so sorry. You're right. I wasn't tough enough to make her leave. She got all teary-eyed and I softened.
I'm not blaming you. At least, I'm trying not to. She's your mother and you care about her. But she really has to leave today. I'm so terrified that if she stays there one more night, she will make herself a permanent fixture, and that will be a nightmare.
She can't stay permanently. She only came with a few things.
Harvey,
Sorry, honey.
thank you. Your mom may not stay permanently after tonight, but she'll strongly start thinking about it, and asking her to leave would be even tougher. She might even create a huge scene.
That is true. I have an idea.
Go ahead.
I want to tell her that I'm traveling for work, but instead I'll rent a hotel for the night. What do you think?
That plan will take both of you out of the house.
At least she'll be out. She won't stay here without me. I won't let her even if she wants to. And she doesn't know I'm returning tomorrow.
If that's the only way, go ahead and do it. It's a good plan.
Thank you.
I'm just sad that we have to resort to methods like this because of your mother. It's uncomfortable and costs money.
It does. Downside of having a mom who doesn't know boundaries. I'll put the plan in motion now.
Okay, catch you later.
I returned from my son's home yesterday evening after a 2-day visit. You weren't there.
Yes, I'm out of town for a few weeks. It's for a big contract for an interior designing project.
Where are you exactly?
Dallas, Texas.
That's pretty far away. Who are you with?
The design team.
What are you working on?
A set of apartments.
So you've been out of town for a few weeks.
That's what I said early on.
Don't you dare get smart with me. If I ask you a question, answer me.
I wasn't trying to get smart with you, ma'am. I was clarifying what I already said.
Whatever. When will you return?
In a week or thereabout.
You cannot say when specifically?
I can't.
Why not? Are you messing with me right now?
Interior designing can tend to be unpredictable. We have a time frame to finish everything, but sometimes we finish later if something comes up.
I know you're betting on something coming up.
No, I'm not. Why would you say so?
You want to spend more time with your lovers. Yes, I know what you've been up to. A woman like you has no value for a man like my son. All you do is hop from one man to the next.
Do you have any evidence of what you're talking about?
What do I need evidence for? I don't need it when it's staring me in the face already. You traveled as far as Texas to meet up with your lovers, and you're covering up with your useless work.
I don't deserve these insults you're hurling at me. Please stop.
I will not stop speaking the truth. My son might view you through rose-colored glasses, but I'm not him. I'm his mother, and I'll protect him from you. I will not let some cheap whore maltreat him and make him unhappy.
I can see that you didn't stop by to check on my well-being.
Why would I care about your well-being? You're nothing to me.
I see.
In fact, you're worth less than the dust beneath my feet.
Interesting.
You're like an insect not worth my time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, my love. How are you feeling?
Much better. It's lunch break now. I went out to eat at that restaurant I like that's close to my office.
Good. Do you still feel nauseous?
Not really. The nausea is subsiding.
Thank God. Soon the morning sickness will be a thing of the past.
Absolutely. This is the part of the first trimester of pregnancy that sucks.
Yeah, if only you hadn't gotten sick on Saturday when Mom came around. We could have kept her in the dark longer about your pregnancy.
She was bound to find out anyway. I'm glad it's out. We hid the news for nearly 2 months. We did well.
I was fuming so hard when she arrived at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. Who comes to someone's home at 8 a.m. on any Saturday, uninvited?
Your mother. She nearly ruined the romantic day that we planned to have.
Can't believe that she came with ingredients to make my special food. I hardly enjoy that meal.
Why then did she want to make it for you all of a sudden?
2 nights before that Saturday, she mentioned to me over the phone that she missed having the meal. Then I asked her to make it. I didn't mention anything about me craving the meal. Next thing I know, she's over at my house at an unholy hour trying to make the meal she wants in my home and tagging it my special food.
It's okay, honey. Just breathe. Don't let her get to you.
I tried my best that day to be diplomatic instead of outrightly saying, leave my home. You saw how I suggested places for her to go.
I was there. I saw.
I suggested the water park, Zumba classes, and the golf course. She said none of those places appealed to her. Can you imagine that she brightly smiled at me and said she only wanted to be where I am?
I don't have to imagine. I was there.
Woman, I don't want to be where you are. I just want to be with my wife in privacy. I wish I told her like this in blunt words.
You didn't want to hurt her feelings.
Unfortunately, you got sick and had to throw up in the bathroom. Mom got suspicious, so we told her the truth that we're expecting.
She got so mad. I thought she'd be happy. It's her grandchild, after all. She may not like me, but the baby is innocent.
Yeah, she said that at 28 years old, I'm still a baby and too young to be a father.
That part pissed me off so much.
And she said worse things about you. How dare she say the baby you're carrying isn't mine? I lost it after hearing that. I ordered her out of our home.
She saw your thunderous expression and left quickly. Thank you for standing up for me that way.
You are my wife. Of course I'll do that. Have your lunch now. I'll go have mine.
You. It's your fault that my son is giving me the silent treatment. You're an old woman of 33 years old who seduced my baby, and now you're trying to tear our relationship apart. I won't let you. You have no self-respect. You're cheap and you're using my son's youth. Everything about you is trash.
Harvey wouldn't like it if he knew that you were talking to me like this.
The only way Harvey would know is if you open your big mouth and tell him. Even now, you want to hide behind my son instead of facing me squarely, woman to woman. All you do is run to my poor baby for cover instead of facing your fights.
Okay, I've had it with you. Harvey ended up with an old woman like me because of you. He scared off all the younger girls Harvey used to date. He was emotionally distraught and nearly went down the Playboy lane to protect his heart. But I showed up and I stood my ground against you.
You're lying. I believe none of what you said. I know that you'll be returning from your maternity leave in a few days. Don't bother returning to my son's house because it's my house now, and you're not welcome. If you dare to show your face here, I'll make your life a living hell, so you better not return.
Good day to you too. What do you mean by Harvey's house being your house now?
It's exactly what I said. I moved in, and I already made some big changes.
You know the passcode to the house?
Of course. Or do you think I'm stupid? All those times it was just me and Harvey at home? I took note of it when he keyed it in. About those changes I made? You'll hate them, LOL. I redecorated the bedrooms, especially the one you shared with my son. I've taken out all of your things from there, so it's just his things remaining.
What did you do to my things?
That's a fun question. I sold everything, so there's nothing for you to return to. Selling your stuff fetched good money that helped my redecorating endeavor.
No.
Yes, girl. You and that bastard son of yours will not live in this house with me and my son. Once I talk some sense into Harvey, he'll see things my way.
How dare you call Harvey's son a bastard? I can arrange for a DNA test to prove you wrong.
I don't care about a DNA test. Remain in your parents' house that you ran to when the time arrived for you to give birth. You also took my son with you and forced him into an extended leave from work that he didn't want.
Harvey works remotely. His company granted him permission to do so for 3 months.
I don't care. Your days of controlling my son are over. Sweetie, why are you not coming home? I've been waiting.
I stopped by a few days ago and picked up the things I needed, then I left.
Why didn't you tell me you were coming? I must have stepped out. Where did you go?
I have a wife and a child. They're my family. Wherever they are is where I'll be.
Why are you talking like this? I'm your family, the real one. Your home is with me. Come home.
No, Mom, I won't. You hijacked my home, discarded my wife's things, and turned the place upside down? How can I bear to live in a place like that anymore?
It's your home, and I made it better.
I didn't ask you to. Why can't you let me live my life, and why do you treat my family badly? I'm sick of you intruding into my affairs. I have 2 older sisters, and you have 2 daughters beside me. You never bother about them. Channel some of the energy you direct at me, at them. They might appreciate it. As for me, I feel so suffocated.
Please, don't say that. You're my whole world.
Find another world.
What is this? Why are my things outside and the door lock has changed?
Oh, is that so?
Don't play dumb with me. You know exactly what's going on.
Okay, let's say I do. It changes nothing. What's done is done.
What's that supposed to mean?
I would expect that since you hijacked someone else's home, you'd change the passcode at least. Why didn't you?
My baby could have had a change of heart and come back unexpectedly when I'm out of the house. I didn't want him stranded. Now explain to me exactly what's going on.
We sold that house. You better take your things and leave quickly, or else security might show up and throw you out.
This is unbelievable. Harvey would never do that to me. Where is he staying?
We got another place that we are never telling you about.
Oh no, I have nowhere else to go. I ended my rental contract in my old house before moving in here. Harvey has to help me. You'll ask him to help me, right? Right? Please?
Harvey couldn't stand to see his mother stranded, so he sent her money to get a new place. She kept calling him continuously and crying that she missed him so much. In those calls, she hurled heavy insults at me and the baby that angered Harvey. The anger gave him the strength he needed to cut her out of his life completely. He still sends some upkeep money, but there's no communication between them at all. As for our family, we are happy and enjoying peace.